Here comes Sims. Pedaling into the paint, leaning and hitting a 10-0 run to start this game for Indiana, and Minnesota wants a timeout.
What did Kelsey Mitchell say in the locker room after Indiana's third consecutive victory that had the whole squad buzzing? The Fever just toppled the Lynx without 5 critical players, including Caitlyn Clark, and that moment captured this team's mindset heading straight into the postseason. Stay tuned, because Mitchell's words may be the clearest glimpse yet into how the Fever view themselves not as underdogs, but as legitimate contenders rewriting the script in 2025. If you're hyped for the playoffs, comment fired up for the Fever down below. Let's go.
I know a lot of people will talk about Napheesa not playing, but I think they're really good without her. You know, they're just a really great basketball team. So I think it was a big win for us, because they set the bar high standard wise. We know what to expect when it comes to Minnesota Lynx, and so I think going into the playoffs, it was big for us, because being able to know guarding Courtney Williams, knowing that her thing is a pull-up, knowing that now instead of not knowing that, it's big for us, because we give ourselves a chance. And if they are the standard, we get to see where we are.
How does a team missing 5 of its key contributors manage to string together 3 straight wins against some of the league's fiercest opponents? That's exactly what Indiana just pulled off. And for a squad that looked finished just weeks ago, the turnaround feels like a story no one predicted. Caitlyn Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson, Chloe Bibby, and Aari McDonald were all sidelined. That's 5 rotation players, including the face of the league in Clark. For most franchises, losing that much talent would have been the final nail in the coffin, especially this late in the season.
Fever done with the MVP, okay? Bow, bow, bow! Hell yeah. You already know what it is. Dubs in the chat, you already know what it is. You already know what it is. Let's go to the playoffs with some momentum, baby.
Remember, this was a group that had dropped 4 of their last 5 contests. At that stage, Indiana's playoff hopes looked like they were slipping away. Fans openly wondered if the Fever would even have enough bodies to compete, let alone steal wins from teams like the Lynx. You could sense the doubt starting to creep in, like the promise of the season was about to unravel.
Yeah, one of the things that I've been impressed with these guys since even the offseason, really the ones that I was able to work out with in the offseason, is how hard they work. It's there's a work ethic and there's a work style, and to approach everything in the same way, to be so energetic, enthusiastic, and dedicated every day. And I felt that way in training camp too. There weren't any days where I had to bring that out of them. So I think it's the nature of the women that we brought into this organization to continue to just bust their butts and play hard.
But this team didn't fold. Instead, they reinvented themselves mid-season. Head coach Stephanie White preached one simple mantra: be where your feet are. That phrase forced everyone to forget about who was missing and lock in on who was available, what role they could fill, and how they could impact every possession. It wasn't about how many times they fell, it was about how many times they got back up. That experience, those adjustments, and that resilience didn't just save this season. They're reshaping the culture of the franchise for years to come.
It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. And, these are things that you have to go through. I often say there's no substitute for experience, and the experience that these guys have had to have to continue to reinvent, to have to continue to find different ways to get back up, and to play through some different struggles is not just paying us dividends this season, but as far as what it's doing for our culture, it's going to pay dividends for many years to come.
That mentality showed up instantly against Minnesota. Indiana blitzed out to a 10-0 start, stunning the Lynx with energy and execution. They weren't waiting around, they set the tone on both ends. Shots fell, the defense smothered, and suddenly the Fever flipped the script. Instead of drowning in injuries, they were dictating the action. The vets grabbed rebounds, the reserves hustled after loose balls. Everyone bought into competing harder than the opponent on every single play. It wasn't always pretty, but it was relentless, and that's the type of effort that separates teams that survive from teams that actually win. Here's the payoff. That victory didn't just push Indiana into their first winning record since 2015. It proved resilience is now their identity. Injuries didn't define them. Their response did.
I love y'all!
With no Caitlyn Clark on the court, the biggest question was simple. Who was going to rise and keep the Fever alive? This wasn't just about replacing her stat line, it was about finding scoring, leadership, and energy from somewhere else. That's why the Lynx game was so revealing. It proved Indiana's depth isn't just surviving, it's thriving when the lights are brightest. Fans worried that without Clark and Sophie Cunningham, the Fever's offense would stall. And honestly, it was a fair concern. Those two carry the shooting gravity that stretches defenses. But instead of stagnating, Indiana leaned on versatility. Aliyah Boston became more than just a force in the paint. She orchestrated offense from the post like a guard trapped in a center's body. She tied her own rebounding record, controlling everything on the glass. And every time she touched the ball inside, Minnesota's defense shifted. By forcing double teams, she created lanes for shooters and set the table for her teammates. Then came Odyssey Sims, reminding everyone she still has plenty left in the tank. Coming off the bench and dropping 15 points, she looked like she had been waiting for the spotlight. After the game, she called it a fresh start. New season starts Sunday. That wasn't just a catchy line. It summed up exactly how Indiana is approaching this stretch. Sims brought steadiness to the backcourt, managed possessions, and gave them another playmaker the Lynx couldn't adjust to. Her performance spoke volumes about her preparation and the team's trust in her. And just as Minnesota clawed back into the game, aerial power stepped up. Back-to-back three-pointers ripped the net and silenced the Lynx momentum. You could feel the entire game shift in that instant.
Playing in her 8th game with the Fever in their ever-expanding roster because of their injuries. Williams went for the steal. Power sticks the jumper from 3.
That was the clear side of the floor, and Natasha Howard read the defense beautifully.
Howard, good position on the interior. Draws 2, kicks it out. Powers, you bet! Back-to-back threes from Aerial Powers. Caitlyn Clark, euphoric on the bench.
Those two shots weren't just daggers. They were a statement of confidence. Powers didn't hesitate, and by doing so, she gave her team breathing room at the most critical stretch.
Mitchell draws 2 defenders, races away. Hull steps inside and puts it in. Really patient. Odyssey Sims with 13, Kelsey Mitchell with 12, Jessica Shepard with 12, Alana Smith with 11. Here's Hull, another.
Kelsey Mitchell.
Meanwhile, Lexie Hull proved once again she's more than just a role player. She was everywhere, switching on defense, contesting shots against bigger forwards, and still finding ways to contribute on offense. Coaches love players who can guard multiple positions, and Hull's ability to slide seamlessly has become a backbone of this defense. Add her scoring punch, and she's become indispensable for Indiana. Natasha Howard quietly held the front court together with her efficiency. She hit shots in rhythm, battled on the glass, and gave balance so Boston didn't have to carry everything down low. By the final buzzer, the box score told the story. 5 players in double figures. That wasn't luck. That was proof this group refuses to let one star define them. They can score from anywhere, defend together, and trust one another to deliver. And the best part? Even in street clothes, Caitlyn Clark continued to lift the energy from the bench, making sure her teammates felt her presence every single minute.
You know, kind of all the other things like offensive rebounding that she can do.
Knocked away, Boston comes up with a steal. Here's Mitchell veering through the paint and lays it in.
She's so quick, and especially when she gets out in the open floor, you'll see her coming down. The quick left to right crossover just gets by. I thought she was sprinting. I didn't think she was lumbering.
It was a lumber sprint.
Up for the big girl.
Mitchell like a blur. That's a square.
There's something Kelsey Mitchell said after the Fever's win that still has people talking. It wasn't about her highlights on the floor. It wasn't even about her scoring. It came later in the locker room. And it struck a chord with her teammates in a way that sums up the entire season. We'll get to exactly what she said in a moment, but first it's important to understand why her words carried so much weight. Mitchell isn't just having another good season, she's delivering the best scoring year in Indiana Fever history. For the first time ever, the franchise has a player averaging over 20 points per game across a full season. That's not just a stat to glance at, that's rewriting the record books for a franchise that hasn't seen this type of firepower in nearly a decade. When people mention this being Indiana's first winning record since 2015, Mitchell is one of the central...
Kelsey, how much pride do you take in the fact that you started in every game now for 2 straight years, and on top of that, you're now the points per game leader in franchise history?
Man, I don't want to sound cliche, but I'm never going to give up. I'm never going to... If I'm able, willingly, 2 feet, 2 legs, 2 arms to play the game, because a lot of people can't, I'm going to play. It may not, fall my way all the time, but you never have to worry about me not being present, especially if I don't have anywhere else to be. So that's just what that is. I'm never going to not play and compete. You're never not going to see me sit out if I don't need to. And so it's just about staying. I've obviously having rhythm and being who I want to be, but I'm all about basketball when it comes to just finishing it out.
What makes it more impressive is how she got here. With Clark out and defenses loading up to stop her, Mitchell had every reason to slow down. Instead, she kept producing night after night. Teams trapped her, sent double teams, denied her touches, and she still found ways to impact games. In the past, those tactics might have frustrated her, but this year, she showed growth. She learned when to attack, when to move the ball, and when to settle the offense down. That maturity doesn't always show up on the stat sheet, but it was clear in how she kept Indiana poised. She wasn't just scoring, she was leading. She demanded the ball when Indiana needed a basket, but she also trusted her teammates to deliver in clutch moments. That balance between attack and trust gave role players like Sims, Powers, and Hull the confidence to step into big shots. They knew Mitchell wasn't trying to do it alone. She was making sure everyone had a hand in the win.
Up on that, Odyssey, you've played against Kelsey a lot, but now that you're her teammate, what stands out to you about her scoring and the way she goes about working on things like that?
Bucket, instant offense, try your best to keep her in front, trap, that doesn't work, hard heads doesn't work. You just gotta play as hard as you can just to really keep her in front of you. Seriously. A lot of people say, it's a fact, but you ask who's one of the toughest guards, who's one of the hardest guards to guard, she's definitely number one.
I appreciate that.
Hands down.
The numbers speak loudly too. Career high averages and a new franchise record for points per game in a season, and she's doing it while facing the best perimeter defenders every single night. Even against the Lynx with constant pressure and physical defense, she still put up 18 points while controlling the flow. That's what makes her season historic. She's elevated her game to another level. The Fever organization noticed too. They aren't just letting her play do the talking, they're actively pushing an MVP campaign for her. Graphics, highlights, social media features, all making the case that she belongs in that conversation. And honestly, she does. She isn't just leading her team into the playoffs, she's cemented herself as the face of the franchise.
Kelsey Mitchell is a scorer. She has always been a scorer. For her to not just do what she does well and do it in an efficient manner, but then to take on playmaking abilities for her teammates, I think has really expanded her game a little bit and really showed what she's capable of doing. And by the way, we've had to put her on sometimes the best perimeter defenders or best perimeter offensive players, especially the ones that are in ball screens a lot. So we continue to put more on Kelsey Mitchell's plate, and she just continues to rise to the challenge. So I'm incredibly proud of her. She's been through the ringer, and in this organization, and she deserves to continue to elevate her game in the way that she has, and under different circumstances. So I'm proud of her. She's carried us.
So what about those words in the locker room? Mitchell told her teammates, "You've seen our growth." 4 words, simple but powerful. They weren't about her, they were about the team, about a group that was written off, that learned how to play together, and that refused to crumble no matter who was missing. Those words crystallized what makes this season different. This team isn't just surviving chaos, they're proving they're building into contenders. And Kelsey Mitchell is the voice reminding everyone how far they've come.
Kelsey Mitchell is the voice reminding everyone of exactly how far they've come.
that's not stuff you see on the scoreboard, and that's what everybody cares about, what's only on the scoreboard. But I think in order for us to be who we need to be for a playoff run, like the rebounding, knowing who we're guarding, like not having like live ball turnovers was kind of like, it was pivotal in that third quarter. And so we got gut checked because it could have easily flipped the other way. But I think you see our growth.
That's not something you always see on the scoreboard, but it's what truly defines this Fever team. Because in order to be ready for a playoff run, it's not just about points, it's about growth. Mitchell's reminder to her teammates hit home. This season could have gone the other way so easily, but they kept finding ways to rise. So what happens when a team built for the future suddenly looks ready now? That's exactly what Indiana is showing. Their first winning record since 2015 isn't just a stat, it's a sign that the foundation is being laid for something much bigger. Most teams would already call this season a success, surviving injuries, winning 3 straight, clinching a playoff spot. But not this one. The Fever aren't satisfied with just proving they belong. They see this stretch as the opening chapter of something greater.
These last 3 games were pretty high-stakes games with playoffs on the line and whatnot. How much confidence does that give you going into the actual playoffs now?
I think it gives us a lot of confidence, knowing that we can meet the moment at times. I think that when we get a chance to sort of reflect back, it's how do we meet the moment in every game, as opposed to the ones where your back's against the wall. But every game is a back against the wall game now.
Caitlyn Clark may be sidelined, but she hasn't disappeared. She's on the bench every night in her warm-ups, talking to teammates, pointing things out, staying engaged. She's preparing to come back to a group that looks nothing like the one she left, a group that now has playoff experience, depth, and belief. And when she does return, the Fever will have a roster that's been battle-tested and hungry. The core is clear: Kelsey Mitchell rewriting scoring records and pushing for MVP, Aliyah Boston dominating the glass and anchoring the paint, Odyssey Sims and aerial powers proving they can swing momentum from the bench, and a supporting cast that's deeper and more confident than Indiana has seen in years.
With everything that has happened so far this season, between the injuries and bringing new people in and all of that, does that make the fact that you have the chance to do everything right to win that championship, does that make that a little more satisfying?
I think so. I think I'm careful to say satisfying as opposed to pleased, right? Like pleased with what we've been able to do, pleased with how we've been able to do it. Never satisfied. And I think that's it's just a part of staying hungry to accomplish things that you've not accomplished as a group before.
Coach Stephanie White deserves her flowers too. Her standard over scoreboard mindset has changed everything. It's no longer about just winning a game. It's about playing at a championship level every night. That mentality is why this team feels different. It's why rookies and role players are stepping up in playoff level moments. Every lineup shuffle, every injury, every gut check win has prepared them for what's next. Coach Stephanie White deserves her flowers too. Her standard over scoreboard mindset has changed everything. It's no longer about just winning a game. It's about playing at a championship level every night. That mentality is why this team feels different. It's why rookies and role players are stepping up in playoff level moments. Every lineup shuffle, every injury, every gut check win has prepared them for what's next. This season was supposed to be about setbacks. Instead, it's become a story of resilience, growth, and belief. The Fever turned doubt into their first winning season in nearly a decade, and now they head into the playoffs not as underdogs, but as a team ready to make noise. So if you're fired up for what's coming, drop a comment below saying "fired up for the Fever," and don't forget, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out on the next breakdown. This is just the beginning for Indiana, and trust me, the WNBA better be ready. And that's the story. The Indiana Fever aren't just surviving, they're thriving, rewriting the script in 2025 and proving they belong on the biggest stage. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. And don't forget, this is only the beginning. Part 2 is coming soon, and you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.